The government was very keen to say when it came to power there were no major changes in terms of its approach to asylum seeker boats, but the policy of deterrence is now under strain. 3 boats have reached Australian territory in the past week, including 4 people found near Broome. Political correspondent Olivia Caisley joins me now. So, Olivia, what do we know so far about this?
Well, those 3 boats have made it to the Australian territory in the past week. And if you take a look at this graphic here, we'll take you through the breakdown of those asylum seekers. So 5 Rwandans arrived on Saibai Island, which is in the Strait of Cape York. So that's Australia's northeast. Then 33 people landed on Christmas Island. And now Sky News has independently confirmed a 3rd boat carrying 4 Vietnamese unauthorised maritime arrivals were intercepted near Broome on Friday morning. So they were intercepted by the Australian Border Force just before they made it to the mainland. Government sources were eager to make the point that no one made it to the Australian mainland, nor do they have any prospect of being settled here. And a spokesperson for the Australian Border Force also said they do not comment on operational matters. We do know as well that this follows a couple of people smuggling ventures reaching WA. 1 boat arrived in November of last year, and then there was a second in February. And we'll remember that they were discovered by Indigenous rangers after these individuals were caught scrambling through the mangroves. It comes, of course, as the government is under sustained pressure over its handling of the nation's borders. And we heard Liberal MP Aaron Violi earlier saying it feels like a repeat of the Rudd-Gillard years.
Well, we're seeing, people smugglers testing the government. They see the weakness in Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, in Claire O'Neill and Andrew Giles. It's feeling very much like a rerun of 2008, 2009, 2010 under the Rudd-Gillard government. This government have given us no confidence that they can protect the Australian borders.
As the boat interception does look to spark some distraction as the government prepares to hand down its budget, we did hear from the Prime Minister rallying the troops as he addressed caucus a little earlier, trying to keep that focus on Labor's economic management.
No one left behind is why we are making sure that we take these cost of living measures in order to provide assistance for people who need it.
We'll be keeping a close eye on whether the budget papers contain any more funding for the Australian Border Force. It comes as the Albanese government, though, has made a pretty bold prediction when it comes to inflation.
A tale of 2 forecasts.
Inflation's been moderating, the job's not done yet, but we're seeing pleasing progress.
The government optimistic inflation could be back within the 2 to 3% target band by Christmas. Treasury predicts that'll be achieved as households tighten their budgets and more Australians come off fixed mortgage rates. The forecasts are markedly lower than those issued by the RBA last week, but the Finance Minister says that's because the central bank doesn't know what will be in the budget.
Treasury have more information about the budget and the role the budget will play in determining their forecast.
The opposition critical of the calculations.
What they're trying to do is mask over what are the drivers of inflation with short-term spending without addressing the fundamental policy levers that'll address them.
I'm scratching my head and looking at those announcements that have already been made and wondering which ones of those are actually driving inflation down.
Economists aren't sure either.
Treasury and the Reserve Bank less than a week apart. They're saying quite different things about where inflation is headed.
The Reserve Bank has hiked rates 12 times since the 2022 federal election. At last Tuesday's board meeting, it kept the cash rate on hold at 4.35%, but warned further increases aren't out of the question if inflation stays sticky.
But if Treasury's forecasts come to bear, it revives chances of an interest rate cut before Australians next head to the polls. Olivia Caisley, Sky News, Canberra.
And Treasurer Jim Chalmers is going to sit down with Sharri Markson tonight, 24 hours before he brings down his 3rd budget. That's 8 p.m. on Sky News.